Your most recent album was a live album. What inspired a live album?
That's a good question, I guess. I'm not really sure what exactly inspired it out of the gate, but we've always kind of considered ourselves a live band anyway. For the longest time, I've always been like unhappy. We've had so many records come out that either we weren't really done right, like we wrote it really fast in the studio or something, and then like as you start playing live, you play the parts, and then you're like, oh man, I'm doing this now. This is much cooler. I should have put this on the record. But so the time period that record actually is in too is like it was recorded in England at a place called the Astoria, which is no longer there. I think it's actually a subway stop now, which is kind of depressing. But it used to be a really cool place that we played all the time. And it was like right in the height of our heyday in England. Like we kind of had a research after we were a little bit big here. Then it started waning, and then we hadn't really been to Europe, and so we went there like right around the turn of the century, like '99, I think was the first time we went over there. And then we did a whole bunch of tours through, like we really just annihilated England for a while. And there's a lot of English, like American bands will go over there and play like Manchester and London, and then get out. And we went for like 3 weeks in a van and like played every little city, and then we did that again, and then like kind of just built up from the ground up, kind of like we did here. Well, luckily we were never a band that like made a ton of money off of our records anyway. We weren't like some huge act. So for us, it's kind of weird because we were in that in-between state. So you just have to embrace it and go with it because it's not going to change. You can't be like your grandpa that's like, oh, I can't set the VCR timer, so, and like about it. You just have to like go with the technology. But it's weird as a musician. Like every other field, if you create a product, then you can sell it. Whereas now all of a sudden everyone thinks that music should just be free, which is weird to me. It's like, if you go to McDonald's and get a hamburger, you have to pay for the hamburger. Like if you could download the hamburger, people are like, well, hamburger should be free. And it also made music really disposable, I think. It used to be a thing where I would get excited about going to get someone's new record and read the liner notes and get all excited about the packaging and the whole thing. It was like a whole part of my life, like doing that, and that's why I really got attached to music. And now it's like, people will listen to something on Spotify or like download something and then they listen to it like the first 20 seconds and then go put it in the trash. And then the next song and then put it in the trash.
So speaking of like live music, what kind of energy do you like from your crowd? And like, is there something that brings you back with Warped Tour? Because I know you all toured with them before.
Well, Warped is really good for us. I mean, originally, we were young and new or whatever, but now we're like the old band out here, and it's really good because there's a lot of younger kids out here that have maybe heard of us but have never seen us play. So you only get that half-hour set, but we like try to rope, like you said, with the energy too. We try to like get as much into a 30-minute set as we can from our standpoint on the stage. We do as much as we can to rope fans in, and then it's always been that the kinetic energy. Like you get, like we give a bunch of energy, and then if we're getting it back, then we get more, and then it just keeps going back and forth between the fans and the stage. And
if you could say anything to young musicians out there to encourage them to pursue their dream, what would you tell them?
I used to have all kinds of encouraging words. Now I tell you to quit. There are too many bands, and we don't need any more.
Okay.
Game over. Yeah, just because you got an Apple laptop with a GarageBand on it doesn't mean you have to be in a band. It's not a requirement. But in all actuality, the main advice kind of gets back to what I was saying before, too. Being in a band is all about being a live act. It's about connecting with your fans and getting out and playing shows. It's not necessarily about being in the studio and having the perfect song and making sure every take is perfect and we have to tune all the vocals perfectly, like to zero. Like it's not necessarily about that. People connect to the human element of it, and they connect to the live experience. So playing shows is the most important thing about being in a band.
And finally, what's your future looking like for the upcoming year for the band?
I have the crystal ball emoji on my phone, but that's as far as I can see into the future. It's weird being in a band too, because it used to be like a 3-month window that you'd have to plan in advance, because you'd have to book that far in advance to get things, and then everything else was kind of up in the air after that. So planning things like a wedding is like it's actually kind of hard to carve out. Like, well, are we going to be on tour in January? What do we do? I don't know. What if we get an offer for whatever? But so we actually do know what's going on for a little bit here. We have the rest of the summer is going to have us on the Warped Tour, and then we're going to Mexico City for one show, like a week after we get home. And then we have a thing called the Wake and Bake Weekend. It's our 5th year of doing that, which is a little festival we throw in our hometown.
So Gainesville?
Yeah, because we realized at some point that we were gypping our hometown a lot. We'd like plan all these tours and not start in Gainesville and then leave and then get back and just not play a show in Gainesville. And I was like, how come you guys never play here anymore? Or when we do play there, it would be like this thrown together thing we did instead of with like all of our stuff. So we decided to start doing like a festival, and it coincides with our drummer and bass player's kid's birthday. So that way we know we're home all the time during their birthday parties. So
perfect.
So it's good for that too. And then after that, we were going to England and Europe in all of October for a tour with the Skints. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're a reggae ska band from England that are all the rage. We've toured a couple times with them, so we're friends. A band called the Bennies from Australia, and the Ria El Mariachi band is going to be on it as well. And then we're going over to Europe with just a couple of I don't think the Skints are going with us, but and then we're doing a couple of weeks there, and then come back, and then we have some other stuff on the horizon. We're also in the middle of trying to write a record. But
I was just going to say, do you have any plans of recording?
We were supposed to be done with the record actually right now. We stayed home for a while and we wrote a bunch of stuff, but then we trashed a bunch of the stuff we wrote, and then we wrote a bunch more stuff. But we didn't really finish it, and we were supposed to record it in May, and then we just kind of didn't, because we don't really have a label telling us that we have to do something right now. So
that's kind of nice, though. Do you like it that way?
I do. I like not having the pressure, but sometimes we do work a little better when there's a deadline and it's like you have to get it done. Like right now, we're just kind of like, well, whatever, and like nobody buys music anyway, so. I don't know. Like our band. Tell all your siblings and youth about us that don't know yet. And if you're old, continue to listen to us. For old people, we actually did re-release, I know you said that we put out the live record, but we also, earlier this year, re-released Hello, Rockview and Losing Streak, two of our quintessential old albums on vinyl.
Oh.
We're already on like our third press of that. We did a first press that sold out right out of the gate, which we were kind of surprised on, and then we did another one, so they're all like different colored variations. So we screwed all the vinyl collectors are screwed on this one. We did 3 different colors of the first one, and then we had 3 different ones. We only had 1 variation of the second press, and then 2 other people put that out. So there was 3 versions of that too, and now there's another version that we have out with us out here. So if you go back only maybe 10 years from now, or in the past, people didn't even know what vinyl, like there would be a kid at the show, and I remember we had a picture disc one time, and they're like, so is that like, what is that? Is that like you hang it on the wall, or it's like a piece of art? And we're like, oh, this is a record. You don't know what a record is? And like, I mean, I get that it was a picture disc, so it was like a little confusing, but you know.
No, I would still be judging.
I couldn't believe it. It was like, yeah, and it was like a kid, but he was like maybe 10 or 11, and I knew what that was when I was a kid.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
It's crazy, but now though, it's like made such a comeback that I think people know what it is now.
Hopefully, it's here to stay.
But it was definitely, or someone was like, it's a really big CD. And, oh no, we put out a 5-inch record one time, and some kid kept trying to put it in a CD player, and it wasn't working. He was like getting really mad, like wrote to us and stuff.
You're right.
We're like, you realize that's a record?
So y'all read your fan mail?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I actually do our web store too. So I shipped out all those records that we got in. That was kind of a nightmare actually.
I'd imagine.
It was almost on the level of an actual record label, and I was like, what the hell's happening? It's just me. Like I had people help me pack it all up, but then I was like, you know.
Well, when I place my order, I'll like write a note and be like, hey, sorry, you have to do this for me.
Somebody put a little note in the order. It was like, draw a unicorn on my box, and I did it, and they were probably like, I can't believe it. Exactly, and I do fart glitter, so.